And now President Donald Trump has also upped the ante over Greenland. He posted an AI-generated image suggesting a dramatic expansion of US territory. Trump posted images on his Truth Social platform that depict Canada, Greenland and Venezuela as part of the United States, including a map behind him in the Oval Office showing these regions under the American flag. Now, another image shows Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio planting a US flag in Greenland with a sign reading, "Greenland, US Territory Established 2026. Now, the posts come amid Trump's renewed push to acquire Greenland, which he describes as vital to US and global security.
We have to have it. They have to have this done. They can protect it. Denmark, they're wonderful people. And I know the leaders are very good people, but they don't even go there. And, you know, because the boat went there 500 years ago and then left, that doesn't give you title to property. So we'll be talking about it with the various people. We've had tremendous success, and I've done more for NATO than anybody else. I don't think you'd have NATO right now. I got them to go 5% and pay as opposed to 2% and not pay. I've done more than any other American president for NATO by far. And we'll see how that goes, but Greenland is very important.
And once again, let's go back to Pranay Upadhyay, who's the editor of India Today Global. Pranay, sometimes it feels like it's futile discussing things Trump does, especially on Truth Social. But, a picture like that sends out a message to multiple countries, to Canada, to Greenland, to the European nations, to Venezuela. What are the reactions that are coming to this?
Anjali, as they say that there is a method in every madness. So even if some people are trying to discard it as a madness, there is a method in it, there is a pattern in it. And if you see, President Donald Trump has consistently asked for acquiring the territory of Greenland by any method, by any mean. And look, in last 24 hours, he has sent out the barrage of social media posts, including these AI-generated images or be it his text messages. What he's suggesting that this is a non-negotiable for the United States. And these are all suggested things. And, you have noticed it, that not only the territory of Greenland is marked under the US flag, but also the territory of Canada. You will recall that, President Donald Trump initially proposed the idea that Canada should merge with the United States and become the 51st state of United States. And, President Donald Trump is trying to sell this idea of acquisition of Greenland in the name of the Western Hemisphere security, for the national security of the United States. And now, as we were discussing, that this policy of President Donald Trump is pushing the transatlantic partnership to another, an extreme level of strain. And in fact, this can actually bring, fractures and fissures in the NATO partnership, which, President Donald Trump has a very different idea. And all these things are happening at a time when President Donald Trump is trying to write his own rules for the game. And, be it his new Gaza peace board, which is now being considered as a pretext for maybe a new UN, because the kind of architecture he is trying to build will be a completely US-led thing, which will be very, a money-oriented thing. And he will be envisaging a future where only US will be driving and rest will all be following, rather than making it an all-inclusive architecture.
Right, and one is surprised at how come Mexico is left behind in that little patch of land that's not been flagged as American. But clearly, what you're trying to say here, what one can understand is then US is trying to build this new global order where US is at the pinnacle and everything else has to either serve their benefit or they push tariffs. Because even when we saw that Macron, he tried to talk about negotiations and he has refused to be part of the board, we have pushback from Trump. He is clearly stating that he won't be there and it doesn't matter.
Anjali, if you see the negotiating pattern of President Donald Trump, he always starts a negotiation with an extreme, end. And he has been a great disruptor, but he also claims to be a good negotiator. So, we have to see that he has asked for maximum, he has asked for extreme, and now he has pushed these parties to come to negotiating table and at least offer him something so that he can sell to his voters, and that too at a time when US is, approaching and inching towards a midterm poll, and which in all likelihood, there could be a political change in United States if the US electorate decides so. So definitely President Donald Trump is trying to push and hard sell this idea of acquisition of Greenland by any mean, and he is pushing the European nations in the name of the security architecture, in the name of ensuring the NATO partnership, or in fact asking them to concede and yield something, at least in if they are not ready to yield, or if they are not ready to give Greenland, then there has to be some territorial concessions. So even if the idea of a greater control of United States on Greenland, it is going to be his victory, because all he wants is a greater territory. All he wants is a greater influence and a greater control over the territory and the narrative and the policy architecture of the Western Hemisphere.
Right, absolutely.